people should do, try to improve every day. That's what I also try to do with my editing, with my gameplay, with everything I do.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
Welcome, lads and lasses. My name is Venario. I have been playing WoW for the past like 15 years, or even more already. It's been like, I guess, 2005 or 6. I did start early on the private servers where there were like 50 people online. But I do still remember the magic this world gave us. I was a big fan of Warcraft 3, and this is actually where my whole story started. And I was in love with the whole lore, the world, was curious about pretty much every story that was going on in the game at the time. So when I had a chance to actually check out the MMO, where we could actually, check out things ourselves, explore the stuff we've seen before in the Azeroth before from like the different perspective, just become one of those adventurers. I did take that chance, and I was never looking back. Actually, it became like literally my second life at this point. 17 years now. And we do still play the game, maybe not to the same extent as before, but we do still enjoy it. It has some, downs and ups, but the nostalgia is too big actually, and it's like became the part of our life. It's really hard to get away from it already. I mostly enjoy at the moment the PvP scene, but more like casually, not going after some kind of titles and stuff like that. Just enjoying the game at my own pace. There are so many stories actually on the road that it's hard to remember all of them, but many friends met, some friendships lost already due to responsibilities of life and stuff like that, but still enjoying the game. Do not only exclude myself to retail, because I do like to try some private servers now and then, especially that they have really more possibilities now to do some cool stuff, so I do want to enjoy that as well. Especially I do have some kind of feeling like for the private servers, because that's where my journey started actually. Those people actually allowed me to check this world out, and I still love it for that. My first steps I actually did take on a private server named Theater of Dreams. This was like the Polish private servers. There was, like I said before, there was like 50 people online at the time, and it was crazy cool. I remember that I got into the game through one of my friends at that time. I did play before some other MMOs like Mu Online, Cal Online and stuff like that, but neither of those games have impacted me so much as World of Warcraft. We didn't really actually found any other game so far to do so, and I guess we still won't. The nostalgia is still pretty keeping us coming back to like the previous expansions and stuff like that, and I guess that the classic what happened on Retail Classic is a perfect example of that. How many people really wanted to kind of revert the time, go back in time and just check out how it was, but we are not the same people anymore. We live different lives at the moment. I have pretty much all the character maxed out already, because like I'm a true alcoholic. Probably the character that I played the most is Shaman, I would guess, because if you have seen my content before, I do love like kind of magic warriors where you can imbue your weapons with magic, use some ranged spells and stuff like that, like Shamans and I guess Frost DKs. Yeah, those were like my most time favorite specs to play. So yeah, I just log on, getting on a character that I actually feel like today, playing some BGs just for the warm-up, getting stuff killed, and then probably just queue a couple of solo shuffles. I'm not getting really serious about it, probably because I don't have time to actually chase some titles, rewards and stuff like that. It just comes naturally. If I get it, it's fine. Not gonna kill myself over it, and yeah, just want to have fun, just play it casually. And I guess this kind of more relaxed gameplay is just better for me, especially nowadays with lots of responsibilities and stuff like that on my head. So it just helps me to kind of keep things off my head in everyday life. So And the solo shuffle or rated arenas I usually just do, just to cap, get some vault rewards for the next week. And especially that I have so many characters, the solo shuffle really in the new expansion really helped me out to gear up, because if you're lucky or you're pretty good, you can do like 2 solo shuffle queues. If you win like 4 out of 6 of them, you already have your 1 reward pretty much. You get your reward 100% of the time, so this is pretty easy and just makes people like me, alcoholics, easier to actually gear and keep up to everything up to date. Actually, when Dragonflight was released, I didn't really try out too many new things. I did really like the dragon riding, and I still do. Initially, it was really clunky, but when you really get a feel for it, I do feel it's a very, very nice addition to the game, especially that initially when the dragon riding has been announced, many people from the Guild Wars scene was actually accusing Blizzard of copycatting of the copycat, but eventually I think that the whole flying system went out a lot better than Guild Wars. You can actually differentiate it, because in Guild Wars the freaking skyscale, it was more of a chopper, helicopter and stuff like that, and in WoW you get that jet or something like that that you can fly really fast. So it does differentiate a little bit, especially that I did play Guild Wars for quite a long time, because before I did record WoW, I did start with Guild Wars, so I have experience in both games. But, like I said before, nostalgia, feelings I pretty much have. It kind of sounds strange if you say that you have a feelings for a game, but who cares at this point? As for the PvP overall and like Battlegrounds, I guess I mostly like small scale PvP, and many of you could probably think, then why do you say you like BGs, where you could just play arenas for small scale skirmishes and stuff like that? But I do really like the pretty much randomness of it all, where you actually don't plan things out and stuff like that. I just know the best situations come actually from random people, and crazy stuff like killing 1v3s and 1v2s, stuff like that, getting on people unprepared, getting that extra advantage over unsuspecting enemies. It's all that actually excites me the most, and I'm not like some super pro player. I guess that I'm pretty average, with maybe some kind of shiny moments where things really pull off and you do get some crazy shenanigans. Do feel like I like the most like the Arathi Basin, I guess. This is like one of the oldest one, but also long time favorites, because I just like the capture the objectives more rather than capture the flag, because you can just equip in some kind of freaking tank and stuff like that, then you have no any options to get the flag back. I do, and for the flags also, some characters over the years had some kind of methods to actually get the flag faster. Like, for example, in the Shadowlands recently, Fury Warriors had the ability to actually leap 6 or 7 times in a row. It was actually so crazy. And you could actually pretty much do nothing about that. They have so much speed and mobility that it kind of was broken, but it was fun for warriors that they were allowed such things, because most of the time warriors were not so damn good for things like BGs, because getting overwhelmed so much if you don't have like a pocket healer and stuff like that. But we were on the topic of Arathi Basin. I like that the most, because people, there's like 15 people on the team, on each team, but those people are spread. You actually are running around from base to base, and there's like big opportunity in there to get those small skirmishes, 2v1s, 2v3s, stuff like that. And I actually met lots of friends through that, just getting some crazy shit on, and then oh, that was really great, maybe we can try on some arenas and stuff like that. That's when I actually met most of the people actually in World of Warcraft, I guess. So it was really cool for me that you could find after some battles, you could find some people to play with, just because you were like getting some crazy shit like with just two of you against like three or four, keeping the base for longer periods of times and stuff like that. So the one thing that I really miss from World of Warcraft is that Blizzard kind of stops implementing like new BGs, and I do really think that at this point of the game, when it's actually like 18 years already out, and with such big popularity of modes like League of Legends and stuff like that, they could do some kind of battle royale. I do know that there were some kind of custom ideas like Wintergrasp, the Ashran stuff, the Cataclysm one. I can't remember. Not Grim Battle. Don't remember the name of the freaking island, but there was also some kind of custom open world BG over there. I do feel that some kind of smaller scale BG like 5v5 tower defense or something like that, with a little bit more thought to it. Of course you cannot do it exactly the same, because in those modes you actually level, you buy more gear for that. But if you could actually equalize the stats and stuff like that, I guess that it could be a very nice mode. A very good mode would come out of this. I'll really try it, especially that Blizzard is making some lots of crazy stuff really at the moment, not caring about the community too much. Maybe a little bit with the Dragonflight, with all the changes flying around here and there, but most of the time they don't really care that much, so why not try something like that? I mean, people were always, for so many years, were complaining about the PvP scene, not getting the right PvP changes, stuff like that, they didn't care about balance. But the Battlegrounds are actually, I think, one of the most selling point, at least it was, for a very, very long period of time. So it would actually probably also improve a lot of the PvP scene if we would at least get some kind of new modes and stuff like that. I mean, Solo Shuffle is great, but people were actually talking about it in like 6-7 years ago already, and Blizzard finally gave it to us, which is cool, because sometimes looking for people was really annoying. All those tryhards, I'm looking for 2400 XP or just get lost and stuff like that. So, and actually the PvP community is known from being toxic, so it wasn't really that great, looking for a partner. So I do really like those friendships that were actually made in BGs, during fights. It kind of, if you're a big fan of fantasy films and stuff like that, it kind of reminds you of, big battles the heroes were actually fighting and then coming out alive with some strangers, and then, becoming real, like, long-lived friends and stuff like that. So it was actually really cool to still keep up with those people. So, when we take a look at WoW in the big picture over the years, if you take a look at the changes, whether they were like a good quality or bad, I guess we could probably, we should actually separate it by each expansion, because as you probably know, you're also probably long WoW gamers already. Each expansion did introduce so many things. And what I feel actually is why the initial expansions were actually so successful is that it kind of not only expanded the game, but they actually added new stuff that was also relevant for the game and that improved the actual game. Later on, I guess it was Cataclysm, maybe Mists of Pandaria. But Mists of Pandaria is a completely different story. We're going to get to that later. Actually, around Cataclysm, like, the new cool stuff kind of stopped. They were trying to, implement completely new stuff that and change stuff that was already working. So let's say the old Azeroth has been deleted, it was shattered by Deathwing, many other stuff like Talons and things like that. Before, up until Wrath of the Lich King, they were actually just adding new spells, adding new talents, maybe remaking them a little bit. I think they just made the step to kind of change the game too much. That's what people didn't really like. I mean, all those ideas were actually initially very exciting. I mean, the big Deathwing, big boss, we straight away pretty much knew who's going to be the big bad guy of the expansion and stuff like that. You know, the new world, exciting new world with all those changes. But eventually, over the time, when people kind of dived into it, the excitement fell away, and what we actually were left with was that empty space that all those people really wanted the old Azeroth back, and you know, just kind of implement new stuff that could improve the overall gameplay and not completely remaking everything, you know, just pretty much turning it upside down. And yeah, I guess that's the thing that kind of lost so many players over the time. And of course, after the Cataclysm came Mists of Pandaria, you know, all that hate for pandas and stuff like that. But honestly, from my perspective, like mostly PvP perspective, Mists of Pandaria was actually one of the best times in WoW PvP. The classes were actually so much developed. You got so many spells. This was all before the ability pruning, so pretty much every character was so decked out with their, like, you know, spell toolkit and stuff like that. You get so many choices, so many things that actually your skill really mattered to even to use all that arsenal, because that was really important at the time. And many classes had really high skill caps. So yeah, and overall the whole even the modes, you know, we didn't really have we at Mr. Pandaria, I think we had 2 new battlegrounds. We also had that Timeless Isle. Yeah, and the whole catch-up system with the Timeless Isle. There was very, very cool concept with that. And later on they tried to recreate it, but not to such an extent, and wasn't really so successful at that time. And after the Mists of Pandaria came Warlords of Draenor, where it was actually like the breakdown of the game. There was just pretty much no good new content. There was nothing. They just released new instances, new raids, and that's it basically. We had some smaller things in there, but honestly, I don't even remember exactly what was new in the Warlords of Draenor, because it was probably such an insignificant thing at the time. So yeah, later on we got Legion. It was actually a big redeem of Blizzard. We got Mythic Plus, a very cool new mode, but it was unfortunately only for the PvE. For PvP we got pretty much nothing. You know, the artifact weapons, I think it was also a cool concept. Unfortunately, later on, the grind for the artifact power kind of destroyed it. But, you know, the concept was cool. And the only thing I didn't really like is that, you know, in raids and stuff like that, you didn't get the weapon drops, but you already had, like, the most powerful thing you could in the world at the moment. So it's kind of a shame that it was taken away just like that from us. But it does leave a very nice memory from the Legion times. And you know, the Age, I do really like playing the Age even up until now. Over the course of the expansions, it's very easy to get into and very satisfying to play. You know, you just mash those buttons and you see those big numbers and people dying. So very satisfying to play with very easy skill cap. But you know, just to use it to full potential, as always, you need some more shenanigans to actually pull it off. So other than that, we can go further. We go after Legion, we go BFA. People actually are complaining about BFA very much, but I really liked it. I did actually miss like half of the expansion because I did play initially mostly, but later on I came back when the corruptions were the thing and the whole Ny'alotha stuff, which I absolutely hated. I don't really like the whole old gods concept, especially that they made the sets look like that. You know, the whole theme of it doesn't really speak to me. I mean, I love the Shadow Priests, but that's it. That's where my Ny'alotha stuff ends, and the whole Void stuff. The BFA I actually really liked, especially that, you know, Drostvar, Targar Sound, and even the Horde ones, you know, Zuldazar. Those are very cool zones, and I did play quite a lot of Mythic Plus in there at the time, especially early on when the first season started. So I do have my good memories from those times. As for the BFA, sorry, Shadowlands. You know, it was people are complaining about the not playing the game that much. You know, about the story, that it was kind of tell like more like cinematic way where you just stood there and watching the cutscenes. I kind of like it, but it was getting really problematic after you wanted to play some ults and stuff like that. So Blizzard had to actually create those skippable things that helped us out. But you know, overall I think Shadowlands, again, cool concept, but you know, they kind of went too far with the whole Sylvanas stuff. As for the PvP at the time, Shadowlands were kind of burst fest in the beginning, where I played the most. Yeah, I actually prefer more slow-paced kind of meta, when, you know, people are not dying in 3 spells. It wasn't really that great for me, but I was playing the Red Paladin at the moment, so I guess I kind of enjoyed it. On the other hand, if somebody went at me, I could just bubble and heart away. And yeah, I had also the same possibility of killing people in like 3 or 2 globals, so it was kind of cool. Later on it kind of changed, but I wasn't really playing Shadowlands that much. So then we come back with the Dragonflight, and so far so good. You can still check out my up-to-date videos from the expansion. I do enjoy it, especially the Elemental Shaman at the moment. I really like that non-casting meta, but many people are still saying that, you know, caster is a caster, it has to cast, which kind of makes sense, but, you know, in PvP it's a completely different story. So I do love all those like proc specs where you actually generate things and then, you know, just spend them to evaporate your enemies. So yeah, Dragonflight so far. We're still waiting for the new changes that are basically on the horizon, you know, all the CC changes and stuff like that. So we're gonna see how it goes in the upcoming months. Right, so guys, if you still enjoy PvP, like to, you know, kind of lay down a little bit, you know, check out some nice action, you can always find it on my channel. I do try to record as many cool stuff as I can. You know, there's, in the current state of the game, it's really a little bit harder to pull off those, you know, things like 1v2s and stuff like that, some crazy stuff, but you know, sometimes things just works wonder, and with a lot of the nerfs we have been seeing recently, it's been a little bit harder, even more. You know, I did really enjoy like Enhancement Shaman in the beginning of expansion. It was very bursty, but on the other hand, also it was pretty much glass cannon without their healing available. So I really enjoyed that playstyle, but it was unfortunately taken away from me. So guys, yeah, I try to capture for you like the most interesting things that we can get in the Battleground environment. I guess, you know, like I said before, the more randomized stuff makes the best content, honestly, because don't really expect what people will do and what situations can actually be found. I kind of think that if you don't really have any competition, then you actually get stagnant and you don't have any other good ideas and stuff like that, and you get lazy and eventually get good with just what you do and not trying to improve every day. And I guess that's what people should do, try to improve every day. That's what I also try to do with my editing, with my gameplay, with everything I do. So I hope that in the future we can actually see each other again in my videos, in the Battlegrounds, in World of Warcraft. And yeah, thank you for the day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.